When the name Triumph is mentioned, most of us immediately think of the 1959 Bonneville T120, a symbol that shook the entire world of British motorcycles. But before that legend stepped onto the stage, there was another king, quietly ruling the open roads, where the sound of the wind blended with the rhythm of a classic twin engine. It was the machine that pushed Triumph beyond its own limits, faster than the Thunderbird, stronger than the Speed Twin, and bolder than anything the company had created after the war. In this video, we will brush away the dust of time and revisit the Triumph Tiger T110, a model produced from 1954 to 1959, the pathfinder for Triumph's high-performance era. A motorcycle born not just to be fast, but to prove that Britain too could create machines of power and character. In the early 1950s, America entered the highway era. Endless straight roads opened toward the horizon, and with them came an unprecedented hunger for speed. Young riders wanted more than what the Triumph Thunderbird 6T, the motorcycle Marlon Brando rode in The Wild One, could offer. They wanted stronger bursts of power, longer throttle pull, and a machine that could hold steady at high speeds for mile after mile. From across the Atlantic, Triumph understood that if they didn't answer that demand, the American market would slip away, and the person who delivered the answer was none other than Edward Turner, the architect behind Triumph's classic twin engines. In 1954, he unveiled the Triumph Tiger T110. The name Tiger 110 was not empty marketing, it was a declaration of ambition for a top speed of 110 miles per hour, a bold number for its time, even if achieving it required rare ideal conditions. When the Triumph Tiger T110 is mentioned, people often recall its speed and its refined British elegance. But to truly understand why this machine became the foundation for an entire generation of high-performance motorcycles, we must look deeper into its construction, from the heart of the engine to the design lines that defined Triumph's identity for decades. First is the engine, Triumph's proud 650 cubic centimeter OHV vertical twin. In 1954, 650 cubic centimeters was a defiant statement when most British bikes in the same class hovered around 500 to 550 cubic centimeters. The most important upgrade was the lightweight alloy cylinder head. Triumph had used cast iron heads on earlier models, durable but heavy with poor heat dissipation. Switching to alloy made the engine lighter and cooler, allowing higher compression and more power without sacrificing stability. For American riders accustomed to long stretches of high-speed riding, this change was nothing short of a gift. Notably, the T110 retained its pre-unit construction, meaning the gearbox was separate from the engine. This gave the bike a distinctly old Triumph character. A gritty, steady engine note, a decisive twin-beat rhythm, and that deep thump-thump that echoes every time you roll the throttle. Those who have heard it often describe an indescribable feeling, wild yet mechanical, as if you were conversing directly with the machine. But strength alone didn't define the T110. It carried the visual identity of the golden era of British motorcycles. The first detail to catch the eye was the nacelle front assembly, a special Triumph design from the 1950s. Instead of exposing the headlight and instruments like most motorcycles, Triumph enclosed everything in one seamless housing, creating a smooth and refined appearance. The nacelle wasn't just decoration, it represented Triumph's streamlined philosophy, reducing clutter and focusing on essential lines. The T110's fuel tank told its own story. Depending on the production year, you would see the 4-bar tank badge or the mouth organ logo, one of the most beautiful emblems Triumph ever created. The combination of two-tone colors, often shell blue or black ivory, gave the machine a distinctly British elegance, understated yet refined, balanced between grace and strength. And then comes the riding experience, the direct point of contact between human and machine. Riding a Triumph Tiger T110 today feels like stepping through a time tunnel. You feel the vibrations travel through the handlebars, catch the faint scent of raw fuel when you open the throttle, and especially experience the right foot shift, a habit only those who lived with old British bikes truly understand. Each shift carries a slight delay, just enough to remind you that you are commanding a machine crafted with 1950s hand-built precision, not a modern electronic motorcycle devoid of soul. The swinging arm frame, combined with the strong engine and moderate weight, offered far more stability in cornering than earlier models. The T110 wasn't a bike for reckless modern superbike speeds, but it allowed you to feel every movement of the chassis, every subtle change in the road surface, in a way that was raw and deeply human. And perhaps that is the enduring charm of the Tiger T110. It never tried to hide its mechanical nature. The T110 is like an old jazz record, full of rises and falls, imperfect rhythms, and it is exactly that roughness that gives it a soul. It was fast, powerful, warmly welcomed by the American market, and became the companion of countless riders seeking freedom across vast highways. Yet the paradox lies here. A motorcycle so successful ended up with an extremely short life cycle. Only 5 years, a thin slice in the long canvas of British motorcycle history. So what made Triumph decide to let the T110 leave the stage so quickly? The story is not that the T110 failed, but that Triumph at the time refused to stop at any boundary. They saw a world that was changing. America's highways growing longer and straighter, desert races in California exploding in popularity, and an energetic young generation craving stronger, more intense sensations. Smoothness and stability were no longer enough. They wanted greater pull from the first twist of the throttle, a sharper exhaust note, and the kind of feeling that made the heart jolt with each turn of the wrist. In that context, the Tiger T110, though excellent, was still not enough. It was strong, but Triumph believed they could create something even stronger. So the engineering team began experimenting with an upgraded version of the 650 cubic centimeter alloy head engine. They kept the foundation proven over thousands of real-world miles, but increased air intake by installing twin carburetors. 2 carburetors meant 2 deeper breaths, 2 richer fuel mixtures, and an engine ready to push the motorcycle beyond the limits the T110 had once set. And so, in 1959, Triumph delivered their answer, the Triumph Bonneville T120. Bonneville immediately became the company's declaration, a statement of speed, power, and the ambition to dominate American roads. But what few people mention is that the foundation of the T120 was inherited almost entirely from the Tiger T110. The frame was refined from the T110's already solid swinging arm design. The alloy head engine, once considered a major leap, now became the heart of a new legend. Even the balance between weight and torque, the greatest strength of the T110, was preserved almost intact. The T110 was like a perfect opening performer, setting the stage with precision, then stepping back to let the spotlight shine on its successor. And when the Bonneville appeared, public attention shifted instantly to the new child, leaving the Tiger T110 standing quietly behind. But that silence was not an ending. It was another role, the role of the pioneer. And here is what many riders came to realize only later. The legacy of the Triumph Tiger T110 does not lie in being replaced. It lies in being the machine that made replacement possible. Without the T110, Triumph would never have had the confidence to push the 650cc twin to its limits. Without experimentation with alloy heads, Triumph would never have dared increase compression for the Bonneville. Without the stability of the T110's swinging arm frame, Triumph would never have achieved the rigidity the T120 needed to conquer both racetracks and highways. The legacy of the T110 extends even further. It represents the moment Triumph understood that boldness, daring to change, daring to surpass itself, was the only way to continue writing history. The T110 is where modern Triumph DNA was shaped. High performance, balanced design, a spirit of freedom, and a touch of distinctly British rebellion. Later Triumphs, including modern Bonnevilles and Thruxtons, all carry within them the mechanical heartbeat the T110 originated. And when we look back, perception shifts. The Tiger T110 is not a motorcycle forgotten by time. It is the most complete rough draft of a legend. A quiet figure behind the spotlight, yet every bolt, every engine note, every engineering decision echoes into the present day. Today, the Triumph Tiger T110 is no longer just a machine from the past. It has become a treasure in the world of vintage motorcycle collecting. Its value does not lie merely in rarity, but in the fact that each surviving motorcycle carries the imprint of the golden age of British motorcycling. In the international market, T110s that retain their original pre-unit configuration, period-correct paint, and intact 4-bar or mouth organ tank badges are highly sought after because they testify to the era when Triumph forged its unique identity. A properly restored T110 often reaches a high price, but its true value lies in the feeling when you start it. The old twin awakening like a greeting from 1954. For older collectors, especially in the United States, owning a T110 is like holding a piece of the Eisenhower-era highway system, a symbol of freedom and the technical narrative of the post-war years. The stories surrounding the Triumph Tiger T110 have never been only about metal and machinery. They are memories, journeys, and traces of a time when motorcycles carried a clearer soul than any modern machine. Therefore, if you own a T110 or have memories with the Triumph pre-unit line, please share your story in the comments. Who knows, your memory might be the missing piece that completes the historical picture we are building together. And don't forget to like and subscribe so we can bring you more time machines waiting to be named.